Yo, it's Mike, and I'm starting this video with an outrageous claim. This is just my opinion, and nothing but my opinion, but the Nikon F3 is the greatest film SLR ever made. Oh, I said it, let's talk about it, go. Alright, bear with me for a minute. We need to do a little bit of a history lesson to understand the context from which the F3 comes. In 1971 and 1972, Canon released the original F1, Nikon released the F2, and that started what I like to consider one of the fiercest rivalries in camera production ever. Rivalry to the extent of Niki Lauda and James Hunt, or Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost. It was game-changing because these two cameras brought the modular systems that were only available in medium format stuff to SLRs. It was absolutely unprecedented. A couple years go by and Minolta says, I gotta get in this game too. They released the X1, also known as the XK and XM, and it was the most technically advanced camera ever to that date. And it reigned king. It crushed the F1 and Nikon's F2, and everything was kind of hushed for a few years. Minolta was the crown jewel of that era until 1980 came around, when Pentax finally decided to get into the game. They released the LX. It was okay. But most importantly, 1980, Nikon shows up with the F3, and Nikon steps in and it's like, alright, we're in the big leagues now, it's okay, we got this. And they released this, bliss. And in 81, Canon released the new F1, the F1N, in response to this, but it was too late already. The F3 was only out for 1 year, but it had already capitalized on that 1 year and was already so universally loved. It had taken the top spot. It was the top dog, and for good bloody reason. This is a camera that was more than enough for the average human being, but this was also the camera choice for every working photographer, whether it be fine art, photojournalism. It was perfect, it suited everyone's needs because of the modular design. It's fantastic. You can customize everything from the prisms to the focusing screens. You can put a motor drive on it, you can put a data back on it, and more than anything, with this camera you could use an incredibly vast collection of lenses. Every pre-AI and every AI Nikon lens mounts in meters on this. It's incredible. It was arguably, and may still be, the most versatile camera system ever. Dare I say ever. It's pretty incredible. But the press ate it up. It came in a couple different versions, which the press all fawned to, and they were specifically made for the press. There was the F3T, which is a titanium body. There was an F3 HP, which came with a high point viewfinder. Basically, bigger, brighter. Apparently it was better for people with glasses, but frankly, I find this standard viewfinder more than enough. They also came in an F3P, P standing for press. And it came with several different accoutrements to make everything more convenient. The shutter dial was raised, you had a hot shoe on your viewfinder, a couple little different cosmetic changes, and they also had the F3H, which was the high burst one. It had a 13 FPS burst. It was insane, unprecedented, truly the leader in the field. And it was also full of little things that would make the shooting process more convenient for you. It was stuff that you would never think that would be necessary or that could ever come in handy, but Nikon was like, we got you though, don't worry. Because you have some features like a mirror lockup, and you have, this is crazy, I'd never seen this before, but you pull this little lever here, and that brings an orange shield into the viewfinder to prevent any stray light from changing your exposure or influencing it when you're doing long exposures. You have like a little lever here for multiple exposures as well. It's crazy, you have everything you could want, and with that modular system, you had a camera that was fit for any occasion. It was absolutely incredible. And it was designed by bloody Giorgetto Giugiaro. He worked at Bertoni, he worked at Ghia. He designed some of the most incredible sports cars ever. And he is the reason why Nikon now has these lovely red accents all on their cameras. This is where it all started. It was a perfect meeting of the minds. Mechanically, stylistically, it was form and function in perfect harmony. And I know some of you may be saying, Michael, but you're kind of overlooking the fact that this camera needs batteries to run. How dare you put a battery-operated camera in your top spot for film SLR? Because these are so bloody reliable. I've not heard one single instance of an F3 going bad. So while you may have hesitations down the line about like, oh, old circuitry, old electronics, they all go bad, it's inevitable. Apparently the F3 is immune to that because I have not had a single issue with it. You get a ton of shots for one battery, and if ever you're out in the field and your camera runs out of juice, there is a mechanical backup. Whoa. And that will fire a mechanical shutter at 1/80th of a second all the time. So for whatever reason your camera just so happens to run out of battery and you're out shooting, you always have a backup, so you don't have to stop. It's a wonderful little failsafe. And everything is just so beautifully intuitive and dynamic. I mean, like, this just might have one of the best feeling film advances ever. It like quickens the more you go into it. It's a short throw, but it starts off resistance, then it's just like, bah, it's brisk. It's the only film advance that actually I felt that's like that swift and is like, oh, keep going. It's very natural. And everything's super accessible. The shutter speed dial is the clickiest and snappiest. You can use it while you hold the camera up to your eye, no problem. You have your readouts for your aperture and your shutter speed in the viewfinders. And you have one, it's like, if you want to be waist level, if you want to sports find, if you want metered. God damn, I love this camera. And you have all this wonderful functionality that you can match with wonderful glass. I got the 85 1.8, the pre-AI one on here. It's been AI converted and it mounts perfectly. It's an incredible lens. And all old Nikon glass just seems to be so consistently awesome. And it's incredible that you have access to that breadth of optical perfection. It's a smart camera. It's the best harmony between form and function for the everyday man, for the working photographer, for bloody anything you could want, for any function. The F3 reigns king. I cannot recommend highly enough that you pick one up because the prices are going up through the roof because people are starting to finally realize that these things are like as hype as they're meant out to be. People are finally realizing that Nikon put their money where their mouth is and made something incredible. So I would recommend scoop one up before they go even more ridiculous. You can find some that are in rougher condition because press have used them and they're like brassing and beat to hell, but regardless of how many dings and dents they have, they always work. Absolutely incredible. The Nikon F3, yes, the greatest film SLR ever. That's all for now. Thank you very much for watching. Bye, Film Not Megapixels. See you all in the next video. Peace.
Whoa. This is insane. I can't thank you all enough.